A week before our wedding, Victoria told me she was going on a solo business trip, but instead of handling work, I saw her stepping out of a hotel room with her intern. Later, back at our new home, Victoria would wrap herself around me, whispering how much she loved me, only to sneak off to the bathroom moments later and murmur sweet nothings to that same intern over the phone. And even though I was the one she was about to marry, she still told him with painful sincerity, "You're the one I love. Have you forgotten what I promised you in bed last time? Didn't you say you wanted to go to the beach? There's a project in Miami. I'll take you after the wedding." But what Victoria didn't know was that I had already canceled the wedding. She also didn't know I was selling the home we built together. I was leaving the city for good. Let's go back. Just before her supposed business trip, we had set our wedding date. The plan was to have the ceremony as soon as she returned. After she left, I threw myself into preparing everything, finalizing every single detail of the wedding, decorating our new home, pushing myself to the edge just to give Victoria the perfect day. While tidying up one afternoon, I opened the nightstand drawer and found a woman's ring inside. It was Victoria's size. I smiled to myself. She'd told me she would surprise me with the wedding rings, and I figured I'd just stumbled on her secret a bit early. The thought made me miss her even more. I picked up my phone and called, just wanting to hear her voice, but it rang and rang. No answer. The city she claimed to be in wasn't far from mine. The need to see her overwhelmed me. So I got in my car and drove through the night straight to her hotel. That's when I saw her, Victoria, walking out of a hotel room holding hands with her intern, Ethan Underwood. They were so close, so lost in each other, walking toward the elevator like no one else existed. They didn't notice me, frozen at the end of the hallway. On Ethan's ring finger was a matching men's ring. I pulled out my phone and called her. This time, she picked up instantly. "Hubby, what's up?" she said, cheerful and light, no hint of guilt. "Just wanted to check in," I replied. "How's work going? Are any colleagues with you?" "It's just me," she said. "Work isn't going as smoothly as I hoped. I might be back a few days late. We'll have to postpone the wedding." I forced my voice to stay calm. "What about your intern? Why isn't he on this trip with you?" There was a slight gasp on the other end. Then her voice turned rushed. "You mean Ethan? Oh, he took some time off for a family emergency. Listen, I have to run. Something's come up. I'll call you later. We'll just put the wedding on hold until I get back." She hung up before I could say another word. On my way out of the hotel, I saw them again in the lobby. Victoria and Ethan were curled up on a lounge sofa, completely immersed in each other, sharing a long, passionate kiss. For a moment, I wanted to walk over and confront them, make them see the ugly truth of what they were doing. But I didn't. Fine. The wedding wasn't on hold. It was canceled. Back home, the house that was supposed to be our warm, cozy married life felt like a cruel joke. I quietly took down every decoration I had hung with my own hands and listed the house for sale. After thinking for a while, I decided to call Victoria and tell her directly. This time, she picked up instantly again. I said, "The wedding's off." She didn't even sound surprised. "Canceled? Fine. Let's cancel it. This was all too rushed anyway, and I can't get back for a while. We can set a new date when I'm home. Got to go." Her words were rushed, her voice soft and breathy. I stood there with the phone still to my ear, not knowing what to say or feel. I didn't move. Then I heard a soft moan come through the receiver and realized she hadn't hung up. I didn't want to listen, but I couldn't stop myself. I pressed the phone closer. "Ethan, you're my everything. I'm completely addicted to you," Victoria murmured, her voice thick and raspy with post-coital satisfaction. "Vic, do you really have to marry Big D? Can't you wait for me?" "I'll marry you as soon as I can, I promise," Ethan pleaded. Victoria gave him a kiss. "Even if I marry him, you'll still be the one I love most. We'll have plenty of chances in the future," but Ethan pushed again. "Then marry me, Vic. Please don't marry Big D. Remember that time in your new house on that big bed?" Victoria's voice turned cold. "Ethan, you are you, and sincere is sincere. Don't ever say something like that again." Then her voice softened again as she coaxed him. "I promise you, getting married won't change anything between us. I can't get enough of your body, you know." I could hear them starting again. I hung up. My head throbbed. My breathing grew tight. I'd known Victoria for 8 years. Loved her for 5. From the moment I first saw her, her bright, passionate Energy pulled me in. I chased her for 3 years. When we finally got together, I did everything I could to make her happy. We watched the sunrise over the Grand Canyon together. We went scuba diving in tropical waters. I confessed my love at the very top of a Ferris wheel. Once, when she said she missed me, I drove over 2,000 miles alone in the dead of winter just to see her. Another time, while I was away on a business trip, she told me she missed my cooking. I bought a standing room-only ticket and rode an overnight train just to cook her a meal, clean her place, and head straight back to work. Victoria couldn't bear the thought of leaving the city she grew up in. So I left my parents and moved here just for her. When her job became overwhelming, I voluntarily transferred to a less demanding role to become her emotional anchor, her support. Our marital home? Paid for with my parents' life savings. Sometimes I regretted the quiet sacrifice of my own career. But every time I saw her smile, especially the day she was promoted to director, I told myself it was all worth it. I did everything to help her succeed. She even used to say, "Sincere, I'm lucky to have this life because of you. We'll be together forever till the end of time." But somewhere along the way, she made another choice. She chose to sleep with someone else. To make me a fool. I couldn't keep doing this. It had to end. When Victoria returned from her trip, I was in the middle of packing. The house had a buyer, and we were just 2 weeks from signing the papers. She came in smiling, holding a little box, eyes full of mischief. "Sincere, guess what's inside?" I glanced at the small black box in her hand, probably the rings. I thought but said nothing. I kept packing, ignoring my coldness. She opened the box with flair. "It's the rings. I picked them out myself. Quick, try it on. See if it fits." She took out the same woman's ring I had found in the drawer, slipped it on, and looked at me expectantly. I stared at the matching men's ring in my hand, the very one I had seen on Ethan's finger. After a few seconds, Victoria prompted me. Again, I finally spoke. "I don't like this style. Can we exchange it?" She looked stunned. In the past, I would have told her I loved anything she chose. A flicker of irritation crossed her face, but this style is really hard to reserve. If we change now, we might not get new ones in time. Why didn't you say something earlier? Can't you just make do? We can get another one later. I nodded. What was I even expecting? Victoria had always been like this. As long as she liked something, my opinion didn't matter. And now that she had someone else she truly liked, I mattered even less. The doorbell rang. Ethan showed up at the door, holding a folder. "Here to drop off a file for Victoria," he said, smiling. I stared at the ring on his hand and stepped in front of the doorway, blocking him from coming in. Ethan noticed where my gaze landed, and as if to show off, he extended his left hand for a handshake. "Big D," he grinned smugly. "Just dropping off a file for Vic. Heard you two are getting married soon. Congratulations." He might as well have shoved that ring in my face, his eyes sparkling with open provocation. Hearing the voices, Victoria came to the door. Her face lit up the moment she saw Ethan, and a big smile bloomed across her face as she welcomed him in. I looked directly at her. "Can you ask him to leave? I don't like other people in our home." Victoria frowned, clearly disapproving. "Sincere, Ethan isn't a stranger. Why are you being so petty? He's just dropping off a file. He won't be in your way." Watching the way their eyes lingered on each other, the subtle, intimate looks they exchanged, I felt a wave of nausea rise in my chest. I grabbed my suitcase and walked out the door. "Sincere, where are you going?" she called out. "Business trip." "Oh? You didn't tell me." "We'll be back soon. We need to talk about the wedding date when you return. Ethan and I have some work to discuss, so we won't see you out." Through the small crack in the closing door, I heard her voice chiding him playfully. "Ethan, how could you be so bold coming here while Sincere is home?" Ethan's eyes turned red at the edges. He leaned in and kissed the corner of her mouth, looking both pathetic and charming. "Don't be mad, Vic. I just missed you. The thought of you getting married, it breaks my heart. I had to see you." Victoria tried to scold him, but her hands betrayed her, slowly wrapping around his waist, roaming over his body. "Didn't we just see each other yesterday? You're that impatient?" Ethan's face flushed. His breath quickened. He swept Victoria up in his arms and headed toward the bedroom like he owned the place. I nearly turned around and stormed back inside, but I didn't. I walked away. I didn't look back. All the love and sacrifice from the past years vanished. In that one moment, a week later, Victoria called me. "Sincere, when are you coming back?" I went to your office and asked your boss, but he said you took a leave of absence. I'll be back tomorrow. Just to hand in my resignation and finalize the house sale. The next day, after finishing my exit procedures, I walked out of the office and saw Victoria waiting, Ethan standing right behind her. Ethan's younger brother is looking for a job, she said cheerfully. Could you put in a word with HR? If it works out, Ethan will treat us to dinner. She said it with such a radiant smile, as if it were the most natural thing to ask. As if nothing had happened. She hadn't called once in the last week to check on me. The only reason she was eager for my return was to help her little lover. I just resigned, I said flatly. I can't help with that. What? Victoria stared at me, suspicious. When did that happen? Why would you quit now of all times? Ethan jumped in, trying to appear understanding. It's okay. I know this puts Big D in a tough spot. I'll figure something else out. Worst case, my brother and I will just go back to our hometown and find something there. Victoria shot me a glare, her tone accusing. It's not a big deal, Sincere. You're being so petty. I looked down at their hands pressed close together and saw the matching rings. I couldn't understand how they had the audacity to ask me for anything. Victoria followed my gaze, and when she realized what I was looking at, she instinctively pulled her hand back, eyes guilty, avoiding mine. Oh, this? She said awkwardly. You were gone for so long, and we couldn't test the ring size. I just had Ethan try it on. It fit perfectly, so he never took it off. If I hadn't already seen what I had, I might have believed her. Now, I just felt tired. Do whatever you want. I have to go. My plan was to sign the contract with the buyer and leave. I had already lined up a new job in my parents' city. Once everything was settled, I'd start fresh, but Victoria followed me, trying to stop me from walking away. Sincere, please believe me. It's just a ring. Ethan was only trying it on. If you're upset, we'll get new wedding rings. I let out a dry laugh. It's fine. I didn't like that style anyway. It doesn't matter who wears it. She grabbed my hand, refusing to let go. I tried pulling away, but she clung tighter. Sincere, it's our wedding. How can you say it doesn't matter? Fine, she said finally. I don't want this ring either. She took it off her finger. We'll get a new custom set. This time you can choose. I almost laughed. That's not what she used to say. Funny, now that I truly didn't care. She was trying to appease me. It doesn't matter, I said. I canceled the wedding. From now on, you can be with whoever you want. Victoria, I added softly but firmly. Let's break up. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. Like I was the unreasonable one. Sincere? What kind of tantrum is this? It's just a ring. How can you just say we should break up? I don't agree. I looked her straight in the eye. My voice was calm. What about you, Victoria? You slept with someone else casually. You were in bed with Ethan, holding him, whispering to him. Did it ever cross your mind that we were about to get married? Victoria's hands balled into fists. She forced a strained smile, trying to act calm. Sincere, don't joke like that. Of course I'm going to marry you. You're the only one I'm marrying. No one else. Marry me, I said, but sleep with your intern. I shook my head. Victoria, you make me sick. She reached out to grab my arm, but I stepped back. I won't let you talk to Vic like that. Ethan suddenly exploded. Vic is the best girl in the world. You can't say that about her. He glared at me with a face full of righteous fury and shoved me with both hands. That was it. I couldn't hold back anymore. I punched him hard. My fist landed clean across his jaw, and he dropped to the ground. Victoria rushed to his side, her face twisted with rage. She looked like she could kill me. Sincere, what are you doing? I exhaled slowly. All the rage I had held in finally found a release. He had it coming, I said. And don't think for a second I don't know what you did in our home. Victoria, we're over. I'm leaving this city. Don't ever contact me again. She tried to come after me, but then Ethan groaned. Vic, my head. I feel dizzy. I think I have a concussion. In the end, she didn't follow me. She took him to the hospital. The doctor said Ethan only had a superficial cut near his eye, no concussion. But he clung to Victoria anyway, using the dizziness as an excuse to stay by her side. He convinced her to let him move into our old home, but when they arrived, they found it already sold. Victoria called to scream at me. Sincere, what right do you have to sell our house? I haven't agreed to this breakup. Where are we supposed to live now that you've sold it? I answered coolly. Victoria, we've already broken up. I don't need your agreement. My parents paid for that house in full, so of course I had the right to sell it. Then why didn't you ask me? You cancel the wedding on a whim. You decide we're breaking up on your own. Sincere? How can you be so selfish? How am I supposed to face my family and friends after this? Selfish after everything I gave for her? Without complaint, without hesitation. I laughed cold, bitter. I don't want to argue with you, I said. The day you left for your trip, I missed you. I drove to your hotel to surprise you and saw you and Ethan walking out of the same room. I saw you kissing in the lobby. The day I left the house, I walked out only to see you getting intimate in the home I bought. Through the crack in the door, you couldn't even wait to shut it before getting all over each other. The wedding ring the ring she bought for me. Why was Ethan wearing a matching one? Victoria, did you ever once think of me as your partner? I asked, my voice trembling with both disbelief and rage. You've been lying to me, playing me for a fool for God knows how long. And now, you've got the nerve to ask me why I'm breaking up with you. I took a breath, clenching my jaw. I'll tell you why. I'm not into being humiliated. I don't have a cuckold fetish. I'm not some saint who can watch his fiancée sleep with another man and just feel nothing. Victoria, I'm a human being. I have a heart. You can't just rip it out of my chest, stomp it into the ground, and then complain that the bloodstains are an eyesore. There was a long silence on the other end of the call. I was just about to hang up when I heard her anxious voice, trying desperately to explain. Sincere, it's not like that. Ethan was pestering me, that's all. That's why I gave him the ring. I never ever thought about breaking up with you before I could even process that mess of a lie. Ethan's voice cut in, smug and insufferable. It's okay, Vic. You still have me. But Victoria's reply was like ice water. What does this have to do with you? If it weren't for you, Sincere, and I would never be in this mess. Whatever twisted game they were playing now, it wasn't my problem anymore. I hung up, blocked Victoria on everything, and focused on starting my new job. I hadn't lived in this city in years. Coming back felt like starting from scratch, and I knew I had to work harder than ever to rebuild my life. Thankfully, since Victoria and I weren't legally married, I didn't have to deal with a messy divorce. A few awkward explanations too. Friends and family, and I was free to dive into my new life. So that's what I did. I drowned myself in work, pushing through the heartbreak and disappointment. I was at the office from dawn till dusk, and before long, I had carved out a solid place for myself at the new company. Then, about a week later, I was heading to meet a client when I saw her, Victoria, standing downstairs from my parents' apartment building. Her face lit up when she spotted me. She jogged over, holding out a gift bag like some cheesy romantic comedy scene. I bought you that fruity cologne you like. Sincere, I fired Ethan. Come back to me, she said, tilting her head up, her eyes full of false hope, as if none of it had ever happened. I didn't even take the bag. I just looked at her, half amused, half disgusted, and said nothing. That stare must have made her uneasy. She took the cologne out of the bag and gently grabbed my wrist, spritzing it on me. As the familiar fruity scent filled the air, a wave of revulsion hit me. I yanked my hand away. We've already broken up, I said, my tone flat. Continuing to harass me is just pathetic now, Victoria. Stop making me sick. I turned to leave. My meeting was about to start. She couldn't keep up, but her voice rang out behind me. Sincere, I went through all this trouble to find the cologne you like and come see you, and this is how you treat me. If you want to break up, you need my permission. Do you really think you can do better without me? I didn't turn back. I didn't slow down. I just said calmly, that cologne? It's probably Ethan's favorite. I smelled it on the pillow in our bedroom. Victoria froze in her tracks. The day I got promoted to team lead, I was taking my colleagues out to celebrate when I ran into Ethan again. He came right up to me, eyes red, and tugged on my sleeve like a desperate child. Big D, why are you doing this to me? If I'm in your way, just tell me and I'll leave. Can't you just ask Vic not to fire me? I need this job to support my little brother. Please, Big D, I'm begging you. Just let me go. My team members were watching, throwing each other curious glances. My heart sank. I told them to go ahead to the restaurant and said I'd catch up soon. When I turned back, Ethan was still holding onto my sleeve, but now his eyes were filled with hatred. I yanked my arm away and took a step back. I wanted nothing to do with him. Ethan stumbled and fell to the ground. clutching his knee and looking up at me with a wounded expression like he was the victim. Sincere. Victoria's angry voice cut through the air. She came stomping toward us. If you have a problem, take it out on me. I already fired Ethan. Do you really have to keep tormenting him? I looked at them both speechless. I had no time for this circus. I turned to leave, but Victoria blocked my path. Apologize. My team was watching from across the street now. Pedestrians were walking by, and here was Victoria, demanding that I apologize to the guy she cheated on me with. I raised an eyebrow and laughed. Genuinely laughed. Victoria, I used to think you were just unfaithful. Now I see you're blind and foolish. You and that snake in the grass over there, a perfect match. I wish you both the best. What's that supposed to mean? She snapped. Sincere. I told you Ethan and I were just for fun. You're the one I've always loved. If you just come back, I swear I'll treat you right. Oh, really? I looked at her, a playful glint in my eye. All right then, beat Ethan up for me. Let me blow off some steam. I'll consider it a peace offering. Victoria looked like I slapped her. She glared at me first, but when she realized I wasn't joking, she actually paused to consider it. Sincere. Ethan was with me for a while. Do we really have to be so cruel? How about this? I'll make sure he disappears from your life forever. He'll never show his face again. How's that? Not good enough. The hate won't go away until I see him get hit. Victoria grit her teeth. She looked at me, then at Ethan still on the ground with his tear-streaked face. Smack. She slapped him across the face. The sound was so loud it made me wince. Ignoring his sobbing, Victoria walked right up to me. Are you satisfied now? She asked cautiously. Can we get back together? No, I said it plainly. Victoria, the pain you caused me can't be erased by a few slaps. Just disappear from my life. Please. My team had been waiting long enough. I broke free from her grip and headed to the restaurant. After I left, Ethan started sobbing into Victoria's arms. Vic, I didn't mean it. I just can't stand to be without you. The thought of leaving you, it hurts so much. Please don't send me away. He grabbed her hand and started slapping his own face with it. As long as you're happy, you can hit me all you want. But Vic, I'm scared you'll hurt your hand. It hits my face, but it hurts my heart. In the end, Victoria fell for it again. The two of them clung to each other, weeping like tragic actors on the side of the road. My colleagues and I watched the whole scene from the restaurant window. We were entertained, to say the least. Later, Victoria even got her friends to reach out and try to persuade me to take her back. So I laid everything out, the photos of her and Ethan coming and going from that hotel, the audio recording of our phone call while she was in bed with him, pictures of them embracing outside my old office. I zipped it all up and sent it to all our mutual friends and to the leadership at Victoria's company. No words needed. The evidence spoke for itself. Victoria called me absolutely hysterical. Sincere. If we're breaking up, fine. But do you really have to hate me this much? Do you know what this will do to me? You need to issue a clarification. Now, at that moment, I was working late, trying to land a massive project. If I could pull it off, my performance bonus for the year would be set. After I typed the final word, I leaned back, stretched, and finally replied, Did you think about me when you did what you did? Now that the thorn's in your side, you finally feel the pain. What's there to clarify? It's the truth. I let everyone laugh at me. I let them whisper about how I got cheated on. I did all of that just to say one thing. Stop harassing me, Victoria. This is the last time. I hope you leave my life for good. She went silent for a long time. Then finally, she whispered, Fine, I promise. But I have one last request. Give me half the money from the sale of the house. I was so stunned I laughed. My parents bought that house with their own money. It had nothing to do with her. So how could she even have the nerve to ask me for money? I honestly couldn't understand how someone could be so shameless. Later, I found out Victoria had been fired from her job. Her bosses were furious she had abused her authority by pulling strings to get Ethan rehired. On top of that, her general lack of integrity finally caught up with her. But honestly, none of that mattered to me anymore. I was moving on, building my own life, and leaving all that mess behind me. After spending a week practically living at the office, I finally secured the project I had been working so hard for. That weekend, I picked up groceries and went home, planning to cook something nice for my parents, but the moment I stepped inside, I heard her voice, Mrs. Davis, you have to teach me how to make this sweet and sour pork. It's Sincere's favorite. My mom looked so happy. Of course, dear. I'm happy to teach you anything you want to learn. It makes me happy just seeing you and Sincere living such a good life together. I hadn't told my parents what Victoria had really done. All I said was that we broke up because we weren't compatible. I didn't want to upset them. Victoria's eyes flickered when she saw me. She quickly came over and took the grocery bags from my hands. You're back, she said. Mrs. Davis and I were just making your favorite sweet and sour pork. Go on, wash your hands and have a taste. At the dinner table, she was buzzing with energy, talking nonstop, making my parents laugh, and constantly putting food on my plate. Whether it was intentional or not, she kept stealing glances at me, her eyes full of affection. I kept my head down, focused on eating, trying my best to avoid her gaze. I didn't say a word. My parents scolded me, calling me rude, telling me I should be a better host to Victoria, but Victoria smoothly jumped in, saving me from having to say anything. Sincere's just been working so hard. He finally gets to sit down for a real meal. And besides, Mrs. Davis's cooking is so delicious he's probably just too busy eating to talk. With my parents smiling so brightly, I didn't have the heart to ruin their mood. So I stayed silent and finished my meal. After dinner, I took Victoria downstairs and confronted her. Victoria, what are you doing at my parents' house? Do you want them to know about the disgusting things you did too? She smiled brightly, her voice soft. I'm planning to find a job here. I'm going to settle down in this city. I looked at her, my head pounding. I couldn't understand how she had turned into this person. When I first found out she cheated, I was devastated. Breaking up with her felt like tearing my soul apart. The pain was so intense, I couldn't sleep, and I had to keep myself busy every minute just to avoid thinking about her. But I had moved past it, and now here she was, trying to worm her way back in. This version of Victoria felt like a stranger and annoying one at that. The irony was hard to ignore. I stared at her and let out a bitter laugh. Victoria, we've already broken up. I have a new life now. You don't need to come here and tell me all this. Save your affection for Ethan. She blinked, looking at me with wide eyes, as if I was the one betraying her. Her voice trembled with innocence and what sounded like real emotion. Sincere, we promised we'd be together till the end of time. Are you really abandoning me? I ran a hand over my face, completely exasperated. Victoria, I'm saying this for the last time. We are over. I'm me, you're you. There's nothing between us anymore. So stop showing up in front of me, stop interfering in my life, and most importantly, stop bothering my parents. Don't make me lose all respect for you. You have no right to stand in front of me. Her face fell slowly, like I was the one who had hurt her. Sincere, I know what I did was wrong, she said, tears starting to form. But I've realized my mistake and I've paid the price. Ethan lost his job and went back to his hometown with his brother. I lost my job too. Right now, I only have you. I'll do anything to make it up to you. But please, don't push me away. I have no money, no job, no place to stay. I've got nothing left. Seeing her cry, a small part of my heart softened for just a second, but I still said no. Weren't you the one who said you couldn't get enough of Ethan's body? Why don't you go find him? We're finished. I looked her dead in the eyes. I'm living a great life now, better than before. The pain you caused me, it's still there. It'll never go away. I'll always remember it, and I can never forgive the person you were. Her lips trembled. Life without you is so hard. I'll never let you get hurt again, but I didn't want to hear any more. Just thinking about everything that had happened made me feel ashamed. I bought a ticket already, I told her. Flight leaves in 3 hours. Goodbye, Victoria. Then I paused, looked at her one last time. No, let's make that a final goodbye. Meanwhile, online, Ethan was busy playing the victim. He made it seem like I had forced him out of his job and left him no choice but to retreat to his hometown with his brother. He made these pathetic videos painting me as a bully with his sad puppy dog face and carefully crafted sob story. He quickly gathered a crowd of sympathizers. Some people are just jealous of others' success. He did nothing wrong. That guy's just a bitter jerk using his family's resources to crush him. Ethan, baby, don't worry. I'll get justice for you. But before I could even react, Victoria posted a clarification video online. She laid everything out when the affair started, what really happened. She even posted screenshots of their chats, proving Ethan had been the third wheel in an already established relationship. Just like that, public opinion turned against him. Everyone started attacking him online. He couldn't take the heat. He deleted his videos, deactivated all his accounts, and vanished. I watched it all unfold with a cold, empty heart. So what? Was I supposed to thank her for clearing up a mess she created in the first place? I bought a new house and moved in with my parents. I had no idea where Victoria was living now, and honestly, I didn't care. She probably wanted to prove her loyalty by helping clean things up, but whatever she was doing, it was her business, not mine. Whether she genuinely felt remorse or just regretted getting caught, I couldn't say. All I wanted was for her to stay out of my life. By exposing him, Victoria had completely destroyed Ethan's dream of being a social media influencer. He and his brother showed up at her place, demanding compensation, but Victoria didn't have anything to give. She was barely surviving, jobless and hitting wall after wall. How could she help Ethan? Besides, Ethan had only clung to Victoria because of her position at the company. He wanted her status. She wanted his body. Their relationship had always been transactional, and once the benefits dried up, so did their affection. Now that Victoria was broke and powerless, Ethan wasn't the same doting lover anymore. He started threatening her. Vic, you really want those videos to show up online? A body like yours, that'd sell for a good price. I can't even buy food now, and thanks to you, all my DMs are full of hate. If I can't make a living, I'll have to find other ways. Victoria was furious. She never imagined the same man who once worshipped her would now try to blackmail her with their intimate videos. How much? She asked bitterly, to protect what little reputation she had left. Victoria had no choice but to cooperate. Not much, Ethan smirked. I've got 5 videos, $10,000 each. You pay, I delete everything, videos and backups. Cash, birds of a feather really do flock together. Maybe Victoria and Ethan were just the same all along. That's probably why they got together so easily and why they were now tearing each other apart so viciously. Victoria didn't have the money. She tried to stall, to buy time. But Ethan had gotten used to the easy life. He couldn't handle being back in his dusty little village. Eventually, he realized the truth. Victoria was broke. So in the end, he sold the videos, and before he could even enjoy the money, Victoria had reported him to the police just to make more money. Ethan, in response, cut their videos into multiple clips. He even released their intimate chat logs and the private photos Victoria had sent him. Eventually, Ethan was sentenced to 3 years in prison. As for news about Victoria, I stopped paying attention. Over the next 3 years, work kept me more than busy. I grew quickly, learning from experience. When an opportunity came up for overseas training at my company, I applied and was approved to leave in a month. Before leaving, I took my parents on a vacation. I wanted to spend as much time with them as I could. After breaking up with Victoria, I'd thrown myself into work so completely, I hadn't had the slightest interest in dating. But my parents thought I was still hung up on her. They insisted we visit the city where I had lived for so many years. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but I couldn't say no, so I took them. That's when it happened. At a tourist spot, unexpectedly, I saw Victoria. She was wearing a heavy mascot costume, energetically promoting some product to the crowd. My parents didn't recognize her, but after all those years with her, I knew it was Victoria in an instant. She saw me too. She paused for just a moment, but didn't approach. I breathed a quiet sigh of relief. I didn't want any awkward drama in front of my parents. Later, before we left, my parents looked at me carefully and asked if we could go visit Victoria. I paused, thinking for a moment, and then I told them the truth about why we broke up. Enough time had passed. I had moved on. It didn't hurt anymore. When I finished, my parents were furious on my behalf, then guilty for even suggesting the visit. We're never coming back here again, they said. You can know someone's face, but not their heart. She seemed like such a good person. How could she do something so monstrous? I don't care if her name is Victoria or Veronica. She has nothing to do with us anymore. This city's not that great anyway. At the train station, in the middle of the noisy crowd, my parents kept sneaking glances at me, hearts aching over what I'd been through, while muttering angry things about Victoria. I could only smile helplessly and play along. Right before we boarded, a commotion broke out outside the waiting area. For a split second, I thought I saw Victoria. and Ethan, but my parents were hurrying me onto the train, so I barely caught a glimpse. When I got home, I saw the news. It had been them. After seeing me at the tourist spot, Victoria somehow found out my travel plans and secretly followed me to the station. Ethan, recently released from prison and still bitter about everything, blamed her for all of it. He had planned to confront her at the tourist spot but instead followed her to the station, and while her attention was elsewhere, Ethan crept up behind her. In full view of everyone, he raised a pair of scissors. Victoria didn't even have time to react. The blades plunged into her shoulder. The crowd screamed. She clutched her shoulder, stumbling back in pain. But Ethan wasn't done. He moved forward, backing her into a wall. Luckily, patrolling police officers rushed over in time and subdued him before it got worse. Victoria was rushed to the hospital. Later, she firmly refused to forgive him. Ethan was sentenced again, this time for intentional assault. On camera, his face was filled with rage. Gone was the loyal little lapdog. He looked rabid, vicious like a madman, lashing out in every direction. He even hurled curses my way. But what did their dog-eat-dog fight have to do with me? At that exact moment, I was at home, enjoying one last big dinner with my parents before my flight the next day. I was leaving the country. My time training abroad was full and fulfilling. And just as the memories were starting to fade, my phone rang. It was Victoria. Her voice was quiet, heavy with sadness. Sincere. Knowing you was the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. I'm so sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I couldn't control my feelings. Thank you for giving me so many beautiful memories. I love you. I sat in silence, unsure what had prompted her to say all this out of nowhere. After a pause, I tried to keep my voice steady, calm. I didn't want to trigger anything. I'm doing very well now, I told her. Let's not bring up the past. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. So please don't call me again. This is the last time. Victoria, I can't just forgive what you did. I let go of the past for my sake, so I could live a better life. I hope you can do the same. And then I hung up. I went back to reviewing my training materials for the weekly presentation. Today, I'm confident, cheerful, and have a career I'm proud of. I have good friends, parents who love me. Why would I ever want to drown in the past? My life, on my own, can still be very good. True nature. One piece of evidence at a time, the online commenters began to see the light turning on her with a barrage of criticism. So, this whole time this woman has been lying to us. Definitely the guy has proof. Seeing that her scheme had failed, Victoria became hysterical. Sincere Blackwood, please don't do this to me, she cried. I had no desire to engage with her further and turned to go back inside. Behind me, there was a sudden thud. Victoria was on her knees, crying and pleading. Sincere, please, I'm begging you. Save me. If I go to jail, my life is over. I shook my head slowly. You reap what you sow. Your own greed brought you to this point. Victoria sobbed harder. No, that's not it. I wanted us to get promoted and get raises together. I just used the wrong method. I had my reasons. But it was Ethan who, even at death's door, still managed to sneer with contempt. Stop begging him. Do you really think he's going to pity you now? Ethan's words hit her like lightning. She lunged at him like a wild animal, pounding on him with her fists. Shut up. If it weren't for you, I never would have broken up with him. I wouldn't be in this mess. Didn't you say playing the victim would work? Why did it turn out like this? Ethan snapped. He shoved her away violently and, for good measure, kicked her hard. Victoria cried out in pain, clutching her stomach, as a pool of red spread out beneath her. She looked terrifyingly weak. You lunatic! I was carrying your child. I silently retreated from the scene, leaving the entire mess behind me. Soon after, I took over the corporation and restructured it from top to bottom. I became the real Mr. Blackwood. At the celebration banquet, my former director, now my most trusted subordinate, raised his glass to me. Mr. Blackwood, thank you for promoting me. I wouldn't be where I am today without you. I smiled and clinked my glass against his. The director then sighed, a hint of melancholy in his tone. You know that Victoria Hale. She and you used to be so close. If only she had stayed with you, she would never have ended up a lonely, wretched soul. From his words, I learned what had become of Victoria. It turned out she had lost the baby and was hounded by debt collectors, forcing her to sell everything of value. With nowhere to go, she had to rely on Ethan. But he had no intention of supporting a burden like her. Realizing her tragic fate was all his fault, a wicked thought took root in her mind. When he wasn't looking, she stabbed him to death. Even after he was gone, she kept stabbing, mutilating his body. Then Victoria went on the run. To evade the police, she fled into the mountains. But unable to find food, she starved to death. When the police found her body, it had already started to decompose. A smile remained on my face. On a happy occasion like this, why bring them up? The director caught on immediately. Yes, you're right. Come, let's have another drink. The road ahead of me was long, but my path would forever be brilliant. BN